Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be going over Chapter 14 Content Mastery, and we'll be hitting three different areas. First being the price of elasticity of demand. Second is primary pricing strategies. And third is tactics to influence consumer price perception. So first let's get started with the price elasticity of demand. And the elasticity of demand measures how sensitive customers are to price changes. And this is shown by how much demand goes up or down when either a price increases or decreases. There are two types of elasticity of demand, and the first is elastic demand. This is when there's a small price change, then there might be a big change in quantity demanded. In this category, consumers are more price sensitive, um, and examples are more non-essential items that have many substitutes, like snacks, soft drinks, where people can go to these substitutes if they feel that this price change is unfair and it's not making the product valuable enough for them. And is the second type of elasticity of demand is inelastic demand. And this is when a price changes, there's little or no change in demand. Consumers will still buy the product, and there's really not much of a difference except for the company is gaining more money since they are able to increase their prices. And an example of this is like gas, medicines, things that are necessities where people don't really have as much of a choice to switch to alternative products. And marketers use elasticity in their everyday life to help determine whether raising or lowering their prices will increase revenue, or it also helps decide if discounting will increase total sales. They kind of have to find that sweet spot to make sure they're still getting the most bang for their buck, getting the most money for how many customers they make sure they don't lose any customers. It can also help identify which products are able to use a more premium pricing. So if a company thinks that they have a product that is pretty luxurious, top tier, then they can price that higher if the consumers value that product as much as the company does. And elasticity of demand also guides promotional decisions, so it helps companies decide whether to make sales or develop coupons for their products if needed. And that moves us to our second portion, which is primary pricing strategies. Strategy one is skimming pricing. This is setting a high initial price to really maximize the profit for the early buyers. And this is usually used for new or innovative products that are just entering the market. And why it is used is because companies need to recover research and development costs. They also need to target customers willing to pay for early access in items. Since they are just entering the market, then they can sometimes get customers who are really into getting things before everyone else does. It also creates high quality or a premium image. An example of this is new tech entering the market, like the newest iPhone model. It starts high and then it ends up dropping later. Those people that buy it that need to have the newest iPhone model, like right when it comes out, they're normally spending a lot more than people who can wait a few years. Strategy two is penetration pricing, and this is when companies set a low initial price to quickly attract buyers and build market share. And this is used to discourage competitors from entering the market, since this company is gaining so much customers and it already has its price pretty low. It kind of like deters the competitors from even wanting to step foot into that realm and try to compete, knowing that you already have this much success. It also encourages customers to try a new product, and in return, it helps gain loyalty early, and hopefully that can be retained and be long term for that company. An example of this is how streaming services offer low intro rates. Um, al- Also, like Shopify, not a streaming service, but it is a business to help um, make your website known, able to put your website on the internet. And I've seen a bunch of ads where they will give you really cheap pricing for the first 3 months, and then maybe like, I don't know, $1 for the first 3 months, and then it boosts up to like $15 a month or $20 a month, something like that. Another example is new restaurants that open will sometimes offer cheap opening specials too. You can also see that around. The third strategy is competitive pricing, and this is setting the price based on what the competitors charge. And this is focusing on matching or maybe slightly beating the competition if possible. I'm sure all companies would like to beat their competition. And this is used uh, because it is essentially important in markets where the products are similar, and it helps maintain your presence in the market, uh, because you are ultimately not taking as much risk and not potentially losing as many customers. And yeah, it prevents losing customers to cheaper alternatives as well. Example of this is how gas stations will sometimes adjust their prices based on the neighboring stations. And I think I mentioned this in last week's video, how my town has two gas stations. So when one kind of changes their prices, it kind of has puts the puts a forceful factor on the other to change their price as well. And another example is how retail stores will sometimes run a price match guarantee. I know you've probably seen commercials on uh, maybe even like cell phone networks. Like I've seen Verizon. They say if you bring in an AT&T or T-Mobile plan, they will price match it. I've seen that. Um, and now we're moving on to the third and final category, which is tactics to influence consumer price perception. First tactic is psychological pricing. And this is where companies may use prices that feel lower, but they're not really. Um, Example of this is how you see it all the time. Brands will price things at $9.99 or $12.99 instead of just an even $10 or even $13. And the consumers, in this way, the consumers perceive it as a better deal, even though it's, 1 cent, but it's the visual aspect of it. Tactic two is prestige pricing, And this is setting higher prices to signal that your product is high quality, luxurious. Um, Brands think that higher price equals higher perceived value in the consumer's eyes. And a lot of companies that use this, you can see it in designer clothing like Prada, Gucci, or high-end perfumes as well. Tactic 3 is bundle pricing, and this is selling items together at one price. And this tactic, it makes consumers feel that they are getting more value for what they're paying for. And fast food is a big example of bundle pricing. Um, McDonald's, Arby's, Runza, they do fast food meal combos. And overall, just not always food, but just product bundles is what this is talking about. Tactic 4 is promotional pricing, and this is normally a temporary price reduction. And it kind of creates urgency or a little bit of an excitement for your product by dishing out coupons, limited time discounts, sales to kind of entice your target market. Tactic 5 is reference pricing. This is showing a regular price next to the sale price. Um, so it kind of helps consumers compare. Um, I know some companies are truthful with this. Some can be a little bit dishonest with their previous price. Uh, it in the customer's eyes, it makes the discounted price seem like a good deal. So an example is how, like, let's say a shoe was priced at $49.99, but they have a crossed out $79.99 on it, making it a $40 jump when $30 jump, I mean, sorry, $30 jump when, I mean, some companies can kind of lie if they wanted to about that, but it does kind of help customers perceive it as a better deal, enticing them to buy it. Tactic 6 is odd even pricing. Um, and this is when odd numbers can be used for bargains. So, like, let's say 4.99, 4.97, you have an odd number on the end. And then the even numbers are implying a quality product. It's like $50 flat, $100 flat, saying it's more of a quality product. The seventh and final tactic is product line pricing. This is um, where companies will price different versions of a product at different levels, and it makes the mid-range option look the most appealing most of the time. And it'll a common example is companies pricing things at basic, standard, and premium tiers, where each tier, you're gaining a benefit, whether that may be a big benefit or a little benefit. But a lot of companies will use this tactic. And that is all the areas that I will be talking about today. And thank you for watching.